Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Adib bin Muhammad Sharif, student ID 20173414481. I would like to thank both panels for taking the time to listen to my digitalized proposal presentation entitled The Influence of Short-Term Dietary Acetaminophen Paracetamol on Cognitive Function During Repeated Sprint Ability in Recreational Team Sport Players. This presentation will include some introduction to the topic, problem statement, research objective, some literature review, and I will discuss the methodological section in depth that will cover research design, data collection protocol, sampling technique, instrumentation, and I will end the presentation with data analysis technique. Let us begin with some introduction. Inuka states that fatigue is a complex, multifactorial process that is linked to disturbance within the central nervous system and the contracting skeletal muscles. Acetaminophen is a commonly used medicine for general pain relief. However, previous research have found improvement in cycling performance that have been reported following acetaminophen injection. The potential ergogenic effect of acetaminophen on larger muscle mass exercise is more relevant for sport performance, which requires further research. For our knowledge, there is a lack of published investigation in regards to the influence of short-term dietary acetaminophen paracetamol on cognitive function in recreational team sport player. However, while there is evidence suggested that acetaminophen paracetamol has increased in muscle activation, it has yet to be determined whether acetaminophen paracetamol injection can exert a positive influence on the cognitive performance during exercise and exercise performance. Furthermore, no studies have looked at the positive aspect of the acetaminophen paracetamol injection influence on cognitive during exercise performance among recreational team sport players. Recognizing this gap in research, there is a need for an investigation to look at the influence of short-term dietary acetaminophen paracetamol on cognitive function during repeated sprint ability in recreational team sport players. Therefore, this study aims to determine the effect of short-term acetaminophen supplementation on repeated sprint ability performance among varsity-level team sport athletes. To determine the effect of short-term acetaminophen supplementation on cognitive tasks performance among varsity-level team sport athletes. This study is expected to benefit a number of stakeholders, including researchers, who can further advance our study. A functional understanding of influence of short-term dietary acetaminophen paracetamol on cognitive function could become a potential to influence exercise performance in the recreational team sport players population. Using this study, the sport player population can develop performance strategies that could better manage central fatigue development. Furthermore, the knowledge on the acetaminophen injection might also enhance performance by modulating aspects of central fatigue development during large muscle mass exercise and will help to develop future evidence-based public health policies by the government. Now, we will proceed to the methodology part. Considering the requirement for my subjects to receive a different type of supplement as an intervention, this study will employ through experimental research design. Using the data from a study by Paul T. Morgan, 2018, and as indicated by the sample size calculator G-Power, a sample size of active recreational team sport players participant would suffice to detect an influence of acetaminophen injection in exercise performance. However, to account for potential dropout, we aim to recruit a total of 22 participants using a convenient sampling method. This is the journal that I used to calculate the sample size for this study. Participants will be screened for inclusion requirements, which include male 19 to 25 years old. Number 2, university team sports athlete currently playing for university team. Number 3, train at least 3 times per week. And number 4, free from injury. Number 5, do not have any current or history of cardiovascular, metabolic, or pulmonary disease, and no contraindication for repeated sprint ability tests. Repeated sprint ability tests will be conducted prior to experimental trial. Eligible participants will be divided into one of these groups. Number 1, acetaminophen, paracetamol. Number 2, placebo, maltodextrin. Written informed consent will be obtained from each participant after they truly brief of the study protocol. The study will conform to the ethical code set out in the Declaration of Helsinki. Following completion of the pre-supplementation visit, participants were assigned using a balanced, randomized crossover design to receive acetaminophen and placebo to be taken orally in capsule form. On day 1 to day 4 of each supplementation period with no laboratory visit, participants were required to separate and take an equal dose of the supplement in the morning, 500 mg, and in the evening, 500 mg. Following participants' arrival to the laboratory on day 5, participants were given the supplement to be taken completely in a single dose, 1 gram, exactly 60 minutes prior to first assessment. Prior to the repeated sprint ability test, participants will complete a standardized 5-minute warm-up involving walking at a self-selected pace. A recovery period of 2 minutes will be permitted between warm-up and the test. The repeated sprint ability test requires participants to perform 6 times 35 meter sprint indicated by signal on test administrator, interspersed by 10-second active recovery behind the starting point. Participants were asked to replicate the primary data cognitive task performance and repeated sprint ability tests. Thus, all 22 participants underwent both 5-day supplementation of ACT and placebo, separated by a 10-day washout period. 11 participants started with ACT and the rest started with placebo supplementation. Several assessments performed had undergone reliability tests to determine the coefficient of variation value prior to the commencement of the study. Through reaction time tests, participants were instructed to respond as quickly and as accurately as possible to a series of text strings using a custom-made keyboard with response reaction time and accuracy recorded. Repeated sprint ability test. The repeated sprint ability test is a testing protocol designed to measure anaerobic power and capacity, commonly used by exercise professionals to monitor performance according Draper and White, 1997, University of Wolverhampton. Difference in intermittent exercise performance and resting blood pressure indices between the supplementation condition, acetaminophen and placebo, were analyzed using a two-tailed pair sample t-test. Difference in cognitive task performance across the supplementation condition and across the appropriate time points were assessed using two-way repeated measures ANOVA. Findings of significant mean effect between conditions will be further explored via simple contrast using Fisher LSD. Analysis of data will be conducted using the GraphPad Prism software with statistical significance will be accepted at p below 0.05. These are all the list of reference for this presentation. That is all from me. Again, I would like to thank both panels for taking the time to listen to my digitalized proposal presentation. Thank you.